Okay, y'all, before we start the show, I have to talk with you about the sponsors of today's episode, Heartwise Health LLC. Are you looking to take your running game to the next level, improve your cardiovascular health, or to test your endurance with VO2 max testing? Look no further than Heartwise Health LLC. Founders Tori Parkinson and Jocelyn Frank are two experts in the performance and health and wellness field, and they're looking to help you reach your full potential through personalized coaching and science-based data based on data-driven testing. Tori, who is no stranger to lactic acid, is a pro marathon runner, a successful running coach, and a fitness instructor, while Jocelyn is a certified exercise physiologist through the American College of Sports Medicine and is a nationally board certified health and wellness coach in addition to being a fitness instructor as well. I've worked with Tori for almost a year, and her training has been a life-changing blessing for me. And now getting the chance to work with Jocelyn as well, using the science-based data from the lactate threshold testing, as well as the VO2 max testing, I'm trying to tell y'all, I am confident that I'm going to break the world record soon and very soon in the marathon. Be sure to visit their website, www.heartwisehealthllc.com, and their Instagram page, Heartwise Health LLC, for more information and to sign up. Trust me, you will not regret it. Now, on to today's episode. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, and welcome to Lactic Acid. I'm your host, Dominique Smith, and today I have a certified baller, shot caller. She is more consistent than an Apple product, updates faster than any Windows you've ever been a part. She went to the wrong college. Unfortunately, I'm a North Carolina fan, and y'all just had to beat us on Saturday because y'all evil and everything over there in Durham. But we still love her just the same. She is a legend in every sense of the word. And today's guest, Sister Shannon Rowbury. What's going on, my friend? Appreciate you coming on the show. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for the giggles and smiles this morning. You promised me before you started recording that this would be unlike any podcast I've been on. So we are off to quite the start. I love it.
Listen, it's all thriller, no filler. That's how we roll on here. So we're gonna have some fun today. Gonna get to know Shannon, and apparently she, within the last 25 seconds, came up with some questions she wants to ask me at the end. So I can't wait to hear that. Um, it's gonna be so much fun. But to add to the fun, God, you said it's morning. It's like 2 o'clock here. I was like, oh, I just keep the time difference is so pristine in the great
Greetings from
land.
California.
Greetings. It's like, what was that movie that was filmed in California? Princess
Which one?
Diaries. It
Which
gives,
one? Oh,
it's like,
oh my God, man, there's a ton. Yeah, well, Princess Diaries is San Francisco. That is correct, which is where I'm
yeah.
at.
Okay, so we're getting some serious Genovia vibes here. So I'm not mad at it. So I'm not mad
I
at it.
love
I'm not mad at it.
it.
The people in this great world, they're also, well, this world is mad, but the one thing that remains the same is the awesomeness that you have displayed since the day you were born. And so there are people who want to celebrate that and indulge in it more so than they already do. So a few things are going to be done for you in this. God, we're already in March. We're going to call it the Rowberry Parade, and everything. So there are three things that are going to be done for you and that the public needs to know. When athletes ball out, a couple things are done for them, but one of the biggest things is they get put on a Wheaties box. But because your greatness is beyond the health that is Wheaties, unless it's something that you like, they are going to allow you to pick any cereal or any oatmeal box that you want to be featured on. So you get a chance to choose that. The second thing that's going to be done for you, there's going to be a private chef that comes to San Francisco on your call. So there was a movie back in the day called Spy Kids and everything. Main character, I don't know where they were. They were in some little cave, but all of a sudden they pulled out a wallet, and the wallet had all these food options. And then they took the little thing out, or they pressed it, and then clicked it in the microwave, and all of a sudden McDonald's popped up. But they're going to take it a step further. You get a chance to choose the custom meal that you want on your beck and call. So they need the meal. Then,
Oh.
and then, got one more. they're gonna make a movie about your life. Hallmark decided to unhallmark it and get a really, really good staff and squad, and they're gonna make a movie about your life, but you get a chance to pick the character that you
Oh,
want to play you. So what we need to know, I need, what I say I need, we need the cereal box, or it could be oatmeal. Then we need the meal. Then we need the actress that will play you in the movie.
oh man. Okay. So I'm not a cereal person, so it would probably have to be oatmeal or granola. And since oatmeal was, when I was racing and I was on the road 7 months out of the year and I was trying to figure out how I could control the controllables, oatmeal was an incredible small transportable tool that I could bring with me and or find in most countries. And so I would say my little face on a on an oatmeal box would be entertaining, especially since I have kids who eat oatmeal in the morning. Or I guess it could be in those silos, but the little with the and that guy could use an update. He's been on there for a long time. But that would probably be my choice. Custom meal. If it's I love a big salad. If it's the winter though, I love a nice kind of soup, minestrone soup or something. So it would depend on the time of year. Probably since it's winter, maybe yes, a really nice hearty soup. I love a good, wine and cheese and olives and like kind of charcuterie, meat and cheese board. Something that encourages those people eating it to sit and linger. I think that's probably what I enjoy about it, as much as the food itself is just that it's a meal or a an experience that encourages people to sit and talk and mix and match and just engage. Um, and so probably I would have some nice, just uh, friend friendly friend inclusive meal that would bring a bunch of people together. But someone to clean it up afterward. Can the cleaning person be included in that
Amen.
meal?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Because I was
perfect.
about to say that's a lot of maintenance.
It's a lot of work to do after. You got to think through all the steps. And then I don't know, an actress for my life movie from Hallmark. Goodness. I honestly can't think of anyone. I'm sure I'll think of someone when we hang up, but I would love it to be someone who can, you know, not take themselves too seriously, who has, you know, who, attention to detail and poise. So someone who is generally has it together, but also can have a good laugh at themselves as well. We just watched The Devil Wears Prada because it was the first time my kids saw it. We wanted to show my little daughter, so maybe Anne Hathaway because
I was gonna say Anne
she seems to
Hathaway.
have a good mix. And I love that it's from what I don't know her. The things I've observed off of the screen, she seems like someone who is is relatable, like uses her voice, and so I appreciate that as well. So it'd have to be someone too that really not only brings excellence to their craft, but continues to try to carry it forward in their day to day.
I mean, she's the queen of Genovia. Yes, you better kind of bring it.
You planted the seed in my brain.
So, there were three actresses that I was thinking. I don't follow the gossips. I don't know none about their life. They could be horrible human beings for all I know. I don't know. Um, Anne Hathaway was one. Renee Zellweger was number two.
Oh, okay.
Um, and then Emma Stone was number three.
She's cool. Yeah. Okay. I would take any of those for sure.
Yes. So that was like the squad. That was the top three. The only one I could vouch for was Sister Anne because, like I said, she's the queen.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Sister Anne. I was like,
Like,
wait, which one's Sister Anne? I was thinking Princess Anne, but she can be
I,
all the things.
I mean, in the words of Drake, I know Drake's having a rough year in career, but she started from the bottom. Now she's the queen. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just like Anne Hathaway, and then you get like a Beyonce mix. Like
Ooh,
the
I like this movie you're making.
yes,
Hallmark
uh,
won't know what hit them.
I don't think they ever do. So, um, to be fair, I don't know. I can see it. You know, you got Anne starring, and then just the lead into the movie is Beyonce's "Who Runs the World" or whatever the case might be, or something like that. Um, you know, some with a little tang to it. But I mean, if you look at your journey, it is like Hallmark in a sense. Like humble beginnings. Like I said, it's just the all that stuff with the doping and all that stuff, and then that's the climax, and then all of a sudden they're always crying at the end because something good happened and then something great happened. You know, heck, I messed up the introduction. I needed to introduce her as freaking Olympic bronze medalist Shannon Rowbury. I don't know what the heck is wrong with me. I'm just off my rocker. It's daylight savings, y'all. And change your clock if you haven't already. So I'm just saying, like, somebody from Hallmark, I know you listening to this. Um, so sponsor the show A. B,
Yeah.
let's put this in motion. I listen, I think they actually have something where you can write a script and they will take it. Like it's not automatic. It has to line up with what they like, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
It is a crazy story. It is definitely like the my running journey, especially with this crazy turn of events that happened in September, has does have the makings of a movie, I guess, to some degree when you think about just the whole everything that took place.
I,
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
I was prepping for this and honest to God's truth, Earth, Wind, and Fire September takes on a whole new meaning. Like when it comes to your story, that and then when Drake said, you know, better late than never, but never late is better. I was like, free my sister Shannon, like for real, because that's crazy though. Um, you said, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm reached the age now where I'm old. I can dig a hearty soup. Like like for like there's some days I'm like, what? And I love cooking, and thankfully I'm good at it. But I'm like, what is my heart desiring? And I'm like, a chicken knob. It's like soup. Like I was rolling through Publix the other day, like a brother needs some clam chowder real quick. Like, so I understand where you're
For that
coming from.
chilly 60-degree day in Orlando, really that
E- Look, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It, I feel triggered and seen at the same time, but yeah, it it's been cold, and I don't say like oh it's like 70-degree cold. Even though a brother may need a jacket when it hits 51 tonight, like no lie, but it first of all it snowed in Orlando last month.
Whoa.
Not, I'm sorry, no, God forgive me. Not Orlando. It snowed in Florida. In
Okay.
Tallahassee got 4 inches of snow. And I think
Whoa.
Milton, Florida, which is like an hour west of Tallahassee, got 10 inches. And then
Whoa.
there was ice. So it does get cold here. Um,
You deserve that hearty soup then.
yes,
Definitely deserve
but
it.
but you know, anytime it goes from 7 to 6, like you said, I'm like, okay, where's the soup? Like what kind of soup we doing?
Yeah.
But I've been messing with soups this year, and I don't know why. Like, I understand like what you're talking about. I've never had minestrone or minestrone, but I dig this hearty soup energy that you were mentioning.
I think it's probably because I've been digging them myself lately in San Francisco with our 40-degree days. But simple thing for a mom. I got two kids, a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, and in a very crowd pleasing way to get through a meal. But then I had forgotten that it was a fantasy meal. So then I had to, expand it to have the whole experience.
But it makes so much sense. So I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. So you're not far from my era. I think
Yeah.
from 80s, 90s, early 2000s,
Yeah.
everybody is about the same. Everybody kind of grew up on the same stuff.
Yeah, because we didn't have internet like at
No,
our fingertips all the time.
no, like it's so crazy. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Everybody, when you ate dinner, you sat at the kitchen table with no phones, no TV, nothing. Like you sat at the kitchen table and you ate and you actually talked.
Yeah.
When you went to restaurants, there weren't digital menus
No.
and stuff. Like, there's no excuse to get on your phone. Like, people don't even know each other. Like, restaurants, some restaurants are silent because everybody's like texting or like, and I granted, I do take pictures of my food for evidence. Um, but to your point, like everybody's like texting and stuff. Gone are the days of actual like I'm not even talking about like a dinner party from the show The Office. I'm like actual like dinner parties where people
Such a good episode.
it was I was watching some of that some clips of it not too long ago. Shout out to Jan and Michael, man.
The
Um
TV that's like this big that gets broken.
and she throws what was the
His
trophy that he had?
trophy, his like Dundee Award, gets chucked at the little LED, LCD,
Ellie,
whatever
yes,
LED.
yes. No, I
Don't
don't
judge us,
know.
people. It was a tiny TV, and they threw a trophy, and it broke, and it was great.
What was it? What was he saying? Was it Yeppers or whatever the case might be that she got
Oh
mad
God,
at?
I feel like she got mad at everything. He had to sleep on the little bed at the foot, the little bench on the foot of the bed, and
Yes, yes. And then
it was
how mortified Jim and Pam were like when they when they rolled up in there. Oh gosh, that is anyway, because
okay, guys.
because that could be this could be its own episode. But no, it's like gone are the days where you actually enjoy each other's company. I that's why I really appreciated that answer. Like
Yeah.
wine and cheese and all that stuff, that's love it. It's always fun because you have to be creative with your hands and whatever the case might be. Like, I don't know. I wish those days would come back. I don't know.
I know. I think that my the biggest takeaway, we've been talking about this metal upgrade from September, but one of the biggest takeaways that I had from that, we had a small party with people that had been in my life in 2012 and are still in my life 12 years later, 13 years now. Um, the most kind of profound thing about that to me was this pride that I'd invested in the right things. Those,
Mhm.
to your point, relationships and the time we spend with people and the people that we choose to bring into our life, the way that we celebrate those people, the way that they pick us up, like scrape us up off the ground, when we're at our lows. I think that and the investment in that is what ultimately gives you success over the long term, health over the long term, joy over the long term. And I think, with my family, I have a 2 year old and a 6 year old, and we we certainly, have our moments where we're on screens too much, but we try very much to do activities that get get our bodies moving, get us away from the screens, get us out exploring San Francisco. There's uh, like just finding those opportunities to snap ourselves out of the convenient of just putting on a movie and sitting and watching it together, which we do and we love, but also trying to go out and find beautiful trails or beautiful neighborhoods to explore. And that is, it's sometimes it does take that effort to get going, but I know from every time that we do that, we all come back feeling just happier, have had better conversations, have felt connected to the place where we live. And so, yeah, I wish we could all, I make an effort for myself to just try to disconnect a bit more because I think that that's, while the beauty of technology has given us access to information at our fingertips, we don't, we have to keep striving to not let that be at the expense of the relationships for the people right next to us.
Let me just jump into the question because I was going to ask this in a minute, but that minute is now. Because you kind of mentioned it. You talked, and I've heard you at different episodes talk about these relationships, and obviously when you're an athlete, there's sacrifice. Um, that's just, and that's not even just being an athlete. There's just anything that you want to do in life that you're destined to do, like that's your gift, that's your calling. There has to be, and it doesn't have to be people. You sacrifice little things, you sacrifice different areas of social life, whatever the case might be. But how important is it to have discernment
Mhm.
about not just who you're bringing in, but who you need to kick out? Because I always believe everybody that's good, I believe two things from experience. Everybody that's good to you ain't good for you,
Hmm.
and everybody can go on the journey that you're headed on.
Yeah, yeah. That discernment is important. It's painful when you realize that you've been swayed in the wrong direction. And it's especially painful because usually that realization comes when you're at your lowest. Those I've had a few moments in my life that felt really rough. And it was so incredibly apparent the ones who were in my corner because they were true friends or they just cared for me because like we cared for each other just because of who we are at our core, um, versus the ones who were, uh, very obviously silent or distant or, kind of showed their true colors. And so I think when it comes to, I've also observed friends, teammates who, whether it was me or to others, that once they hit success, the people who got them to that success, they were more than happy to disregard in favor of the ones who now were flocking towards, the moth towards the flame. And I think those are the moments when you have success, you need to double down on the people who helped get you there because they've been truly in your corner. Now that doesn't mean that all of them are necessarily the best or that they are need to be on the journey moving forward, but you need to make sure you celebrate the people who have put in the effort behind the scenes. Um, and you really need to make sure you do that when things are going well because on the flip side, when things are not going well and you need someone to kind of lift you up again, it's only the ones who really have felt included in that journey through the highs and lows that are going to be there. And I think that as you build that team around yourself, um, being really thoughtful about even as simple as how does that person make you feel? Like this person that is in your life, if you tell them you've had a success, do they immediately try to undercut it? Do they immediately try to talk about something they did that's better? Or can they say, that's awesome. I'm so excited. You deserve it, right? Like it can be as simple as that, but those little interactions can really give you a sense of the people who love you and want to support you versus those who are competitive with you. And trying to not be swayed by the glitz and the all the kind of distractions around you, but really understanding who someone is at their core and how they make you feel.
You preached a word there. I can't even add nothing to that. Ooh, we got Pastor Rowbury up in here this Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday morning, whatever time it is. Cause,
Like,
'cause
is it Monday, not Tuesday?
our Lord Jesus, keep me near the cross. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I it is Monday. When I tell you daylight
Too much
saving
lactic acid. That's the problem. There's too much lactic acid in our brain. It's a little fuzzy.
in the brain, listen, Lord have mercy. Who knew that 1 hour could just mess a brother up so much? It's like clockwork. It just happens every year. I don't know what day. I don't know what time. I don't. I'm probably going to get the sun mistaken with the moon tonight. If it decides to come out. But that was great advice. I wish, you know, I was gonna say I wish I heard this in college, but truly at the end of the day, sometimes you have to learn stuff by experiencing things.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, and my mom always say you don't learn things on the mountaintop. It's when you're in the valley that you really learn. But
Mhm.
no, it's true, especially when you're an athlete and everything. And this it's not to say that you're not supportive. Like some people say, like, oh, I have to give everything up. And it does not mean that you can't be there for somebody else. It all looks
Mhm.
different for everybody else.
Yeah,
Everybody's
exactly.
different. I don't have to talk to you every day, but
Mhm.
if I know I need somebody or need something,
Mhm.
it's there. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate hearing that. And if y'all, are listening, get a piece of paper, rewind this because you should hear it again.
Well, and I
Um,
would say too, remember those you mentioned, not learning on the mountaintop, but learning in the valley. Don't forget what you learned in the valley. Like, don't suddenly get, back on the path of the mountaintop and forget all of those lessons and then make the same ones again as well. So I do think there are these things in life that hopefully we've been given good tools, we've been taught good lessons early. So when we make the mistakes, they're small, not big. But when we make the mistakes, we should also try to learn from them and we should also take action from them. So if you've been burned once by a person, it's a famous phrase, burn me once, shame on me, but fool me or shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, right? So if you don't learn lessons from that first time and you repeat them the next time, then that's shame on you for not really like learning the lesson that you were taught.
yeah, you'll end back up in the valley. There was a
Mm-hmm.
story that I was reading years ago about a woman found a snake. This is not a true story, but it kind of ties into what you're
Parable or
saying.
something.
Yeah, uh, a woman found a snake on the side of the road and she nursed it back to health, and the snake bit her. And she asked, like, why did you bite me? And he said, you knew I was a snake when you found me. So it's it's a painful lesson, sister. I hope you
Yeah,
are okay in that fictional story, but um it's a painful lesson, but honestly, those are the best lessons. And then if you could put it into practice day in and day out, it'll
yeah,
not just help you, but it'll help somebody else. You are always one of my favorite runners, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm not, blowouts are good every now and then, but sometimes you just want to you want anxiety.
yeah.
And watching you run gave me healthy anxiety. You are one of the runners who I could say that about because I was so anxious to see the races that you're running because I always knew it was going to be competitive. You were like that. Jenny Simpson was like that. There's so many sprinters who I could say who I watched that were like that. And I love that.
Yeah,
I think that's a huge part of competitive excellence. But the
yeah,
one thing, and I talk about this on the show all the time, that I love about your story is consistency. Because consistency is hard, and the building of consistency is like the lactic acid I have in my brain today. It hurts. Pretty much. Like it just, and we talk about the lessons. It's been really awesome to see how you elevate and elevate and elevate and elevate to now you have this amazing track and field career. But in the midst of it, you never lost who you were, and it manifests itself in what you're doing now. You worked at a sports tech startup. You got a doggone book coming out in 2025, which we'll talk about at the end. And then you are just the keynote speaker of the year, taking all these lessons and everything that you have learned and grown from, and you're helping other people, not just limited to sports, but better themselves because these aren't just sports lessons or these aren't just business lessons. These are life lessons that you are out here ministering to these people too. When you look back at your career and you look at what you're doing now, and we talk about the consistency, can you look back and just have a sense of gratitude that it all happened the way it did for you to have such the level impact that you're having?
yeah. I think of all the things I've accomplished, I'm most proud of that consistency because it took weathering the highs and the lows. It took a lot of work, kind of self-reflection and internal work to, when things weren't working, reprioritize and learn new ways and better methods to maintain balance in a very imbalanced career. But I think more importantly to what we talked on earlier, it reflects that I built a strong team around me that helped me physically and emotionally weather those highs and lows. And in that 15-year career as a pro athlete, I didn't have things. I didn't have the greatest coaches. I didn't have the greatest, my kind of, when I became pregnant, like my shoe contract, I could have lost it. There were a lot of things that came at me, but the people in my corner had helped me have the mental and emotional strength to pick myself back up, and to, the work I do now, it was informed by those experiences. So creating the first ever NGB maternity policy for USA Track and Field in 2018, when my daughter was 6 months old, to make sure our future moms kept their health insurance. That was informed by the challenges that I had faced and the desire to leave the world better than I came. I very much believe that we were put on this earth to leave it better than when we came. And, the same with the work that I'm doing, the book coming out in 2025. It's called Strong as a Mother, and the focus of it is providing information about how to be active through pregnancy and postpartum, but from a credible source. It's made by myself and a pelvic floor specialist. It's really looking at how being active during pregnancy adds value not just to the mom, but also to the baby. But it was informed by my experience as a pregnant athlete, training at Nike World headquarters, incredible medical resources, but no clear guidance on how to be active during pregnancy. And knowing that if it was that hard for me, it must be equally hard, if not much, much harder for your average mom out there. And then the leadership work that I do, Medalist Mindset, I was blessed to create it with Lauren Gibbs, who's a bobsled silver medalist. She and I just kept coming back to these conversations around how the tools we leverage to be successful as Olympic athletes had helped us be successful in business, and how they translated so well to just goal achievement generally, whether it's business, life, personal, sports, anything. And really this desire to make sports performance tools and Olympic athlete tools more accessible. And so that's the foundation of the work I do there. But I just really love, if you've fully existed in a space, and if you've understood the beautiful things it can do and also the areas where it can improve, and if you come with that sense of trying to just make things a little bit better, you then have this opportunity to just kind of move the needle, expand the boundaries, expand what's possible. And I find that really an exciting space to exist.
It's really cool, like that you are making an impact, because I think when you've done running for so long, um, that sometimes you have an identity crisis, because I don't want to say you fall
Yeah.
in love with the routine, but the routine is the routine, and it's just
Mhm.
like something's weird, like something's off. And and everybody deals with it. I've never dealt with it to the extent that athletes like yourself deal with it, but I remember just being out of college, like my trade, if you will, is journalism.
Mhm.
But then in college, it's just like, okay, like I had a routine at work that made me successful.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, now I have to be an adult. Like you're kind of in the
Yeah.
real world. But another quality that I've noticed about you, and plus you didn't even add that you're running marathons now, because you just had to flex
I
on
did
people a
on
little bit
marathons.
more.
Did check that box. It was an incredible experience. I did New York in the fall. I also was sore for 2 weeks afterwards. So, if that's my only marathon experience, it was pretty much nailed it, like in terms of, you know, crowd and weather, and, got sub 3, and just felt like it was a really great check on the bucket list. But Things are hard.
It's yeah, I done committed to a marathon for whatever reason, and I'm like, oh Lord, why did I? And
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
it's New York that I'm thinking about, but I'm so food obsessed that I'm like,
Oh,
if I see 99% pizza at mile 25, that's gonna be a problem. Like, and
you have
I
to have
don't.
blinders. Just where like you're only allowed to look forward.
The problem is, like, we have the sense of smell. I'm gonna smell some dough
Yeah.
coming from somewhere. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I could wait because it's like, all right, you cross the finish line, then you have to do your cool down. You got to get stuff. By the time the line's gonna be too long, if you pass Katz's Deli and the brother has the spirit of a Reuben that hits his soul, or a nice pastrami on some like it's gonna be a problem, Shannon. That's why I'm kind of
Your
like.
marathon course will be like highlighted with stops of all the different food places you have to go to along the way.
I don't even know if
I
it's
love
gonna
it.
be. I don't know if it's gonna be like a course, much as a Dora the Explorer map, like of just
I like
making.
that though. I can get behind that. I'm serious. I would totally get that on All Trails, get that on Strava. I will download it to my watch and I will follow along.
Like, honest, that's not a bad idea to to have a food marathon, but you pick a city, but you kind of base it on kind of the culinary culture, and you're just hitting different spots. Um, that's actually not
I
a
like
bad.
this. I like where you're going with this. I would
That's
love to
actually.
be on the advisory committee for this.
Listen, that's gonna be a thing. Don't think it's not. We just have to figure out the logistics of how much you can eat before you die from like
If we're
basically.
okay with like walk jogging, then you could get a good chunk in the morning, like the morning coffee, get a good chunk. The what do the hobbits do? Like first breakfast, and then you just get like
Yes,
maybe a little bit more run, and then you go to second breakfast, and it gets a little heavy. So then maybe you have to walk a bit, but then you can afternoon jog again
that's
before
a
dinner.
great idea. So if you start with the coffee,
Uh
I
huh.
don't drink coffee, so I'll just use it as hot Gatorade or something like
Tea
that.
or just breathing the air.
Yeah. So we go from coffee. So let's just say this is New York, and then I promise I'll get back to the question. But this is hot coffee. Then we take our way. Let's say we do what, 8 miles?
Oh yeah, we could do wait. We could get it in an hour
Yeah,
and then
we'll
get to first breakfast. Yep.
first breakfast. So like a authentic bacon, egg, and cheese.
No, that's too much for first breakfast. You could do like a muffin or something, or like
Okay, fine.
a muffin and like or
A
like
banana.
maybe a banana, something that's gonna give you a little bit more fuel to get
Okay.
another maybe I don't know 5 miles or half or 4 miles or something, but it's not gonna make you feel sick. Then you get the big breakfast.
Okay, then we do the big breakfast. So we're at about 12, 30, we're about a half marathon at this point,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, about a half marathon when you have second breakfast.
A second breakfast, walk
Yep.
2 miles, let that let that digest. Um, do a little bit more running, but here's the thing. At lunch, what do you do? Do you go like pastrami, or do you save that for later?
Ooh.
Or do you do the pizza?
Oh, pizza could be good because I feel like ultra runners they'll do pizza or something on their courses. So you could do, and I think you could do the second breakfast, and then you could probably even get in like 4 miles walking. That'd be about an hour or maybe even longer. Then you get the pizza, then you walk a bit more, and then you could probably maybe it's a walk jog between pizza and
Yeah.
then happy hour. Then you can get a beer.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody's ready to run by then, and then you
Yes.
run to some place to get dinner. I think we could work this out.
Give me till 2028.
Okay, I
Let me let me 2028, let's do it.
like it. I like it. You heard it here first, people. We're all on board. You want to join
Yes.
our food
Come
marathon committee? Hit us up.
come one, come all. This is breaking news here.
Accepting
Um,
sponsorship.
Endorsements, pay, I
Yeah.
mean, all sorts. We need to be decked out. We also need you to pay for the tip as well as the food, the transportation.
Yeah, there we
Just
go.
sponsor the journey. 'Cause we'll have go, but that would be a good sponsor. And I'll tell you what, people listening, we'll do it for we'll do it for charity too. We will do, and we'll do this 1 year, a city a year, and you pick the
Hmm.
charity of your choice.
Ooh.
Yes. And it's going to end in San Francisco.
Ooh.
Um, because we can't come to Orlando. There's just not enough food places unless like I'm cooking or something like that, and we're not doing that for four meals and stuff. So,
Well, we have the
uh,
North Carolina connection, so that could be a starting place, and
uh,
we could kind of make
okay.
our way. Atlanta would be a great one. They have
Oh,
an incredible running community.
Atlanta
Um,
would be great. Texas has some good ones. California.
Austin would be fun.
Orlando has actually a really good running community. It's just it, okay. We'll circle back to Orlando. San Francisco will be the last spot because it has to be. And there's a lot of hills in San Francisco, so we got to work
Hmm.
our way to that.
Oh yeah, we got to build up some strength
Yes.
for that, but
But
we'll make
like I
it fun.
said, we got a few years to plan it out. Everybody join along. That's gonna be fun. But anyway, I was gonna talk because another thing that impressed me, and then we're gonna get to some off-running stuff real quick. You always carried yourself with a great deal of grace. And that I can't speak for you. I just know in my head there would be some names that I would want to call certain people that the Lord would not approve. There would be some names I would want to call certain situations that the Lord would not approve. Um, and then you're getting asked about it. You were always gracious in winning, and you were gracious in defeat. And I gotta just say this because I don't think you get the respect that you deserve for what you accomplished. I don't think y'all know how hard it is to have records in the mile and the 5K at the same time. I done lost track of how many teams you made. The first woman to medal in the in the freaking 1500 in London, you don't get the respect that you deserve. You never have, and you still handle it with grace. How important was it for you to handle it the way that you did, and what did it teach you and stuff? And I hope, and I really do hope that the more you continue to do what you do, the more people really give you your flowers because they gave you a thorn instead of a rose when you were competing.
Oh, thank you. I that means a lot to have you say, and think, you know, for the most recent development for London, finding out in September, 12 years after the fact, that I had earned the medal that I sort of suspected I had won, but you know, until it's proven, I had to just sort of accept whatever position I was in. I feel very grateful that justice has been served, because not everybody gets justice in the way that they should be getting it, and it's been the effort of many to get to this point. And there's still, the steps along the way for it to be kind of that bow to be tied in it. But you know, I I I refuse to be sad about good news. And so yes, there's aspects of this journey that have been very painful, very emotional. I mean, I'll never forget, after the London race, walking up to see my family. It was such a somber mood, and everybody it was my parents, my some close family friends, my chiropractor who'd been working with me since high school. They were all there. They were all down, and they left to give me some space with Pablo, who was my boyfriend at the time. Now he's my husband, and I just sobbed into his arms. Like, those are those low moments that just are heartbreaking, but they, define your character. And for me, I am committed to being an optimist. I'm committed to making lemonade out of whatever lemon somebody gives me. And I think that that mindset helps me just stay optimistic, stay grateful. Um, and I think, some of the other things that I've experienced, I mean, don't think that because I don't say it right away doesn't mean I don't remember it. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and I watch for those details and things to really make my judgment about a person. But it's been very important for me also to figure out ways that I could keep a seat at the table to keep making change. And I the things that I've accomplished, I wouldn't have been able to do without the efforts, as I said, of many others. But for me, it's constantly, how do I stay, annoying enough that I'm making change, but not so annoying that they kick me out of the room, that they kick me off the table. I think it is through that community building, and it is through bringing others on board in the process, and for really telling the story behind why these things need to happen, whether it's maternity coverage or clean sport or anything. It all goes back to like bringing people along the way. And I'll tell a story for that NGB maternity policy. It passed in December of 2018, but it started with conversations in 2016 when I wasn't even pregnant yet, knew I would be, or I was hoping to be soon, and was telling people kind of what I had researched, both from a contract and also from a health insurance standpoint. And all those conversations, my coach, Pete Julian, remembered what I had told him about the fact that my health insurance came through performance and that I might lose it when I had a child. And not only did he remember it, but a year later, he made the effort of sharing that information with Vin Lanana, who was the president of USATF at the time. And he hadn't been aware that that was something that was an issue, that there wasn't a maternity policy, and encouraged me to work with Rose Monday, the USA track and field chair, to then create a policy. Rose made a committee of women from all different, officials, athletes, coaches all across the board, a diverse group. We made that policy together, drafted it up, sort of shared it beforehand. So when it went to be voted on, it passed unanimously. But I share that because I'm deeply proud of that, of what we accomplished. But it wasn't me that did it alone. It was that community of people that remembered, that listened, that cared, even when it didn't impact them. He was never going to benefit from this policy, but he knew that it was the right thing to do. And I think that's where we need to show up for each other, and we need to give gratitude and grace to the ones who show up for us, because that's how stuff gets done.
I'm trying to tell you, we're gonna call you Bishop Rowbury because and I appreciate you sharing that. Um, because it kind of falls in line with consistency. Consistency
Mm-hmm.
is not just showing up to practice, it's showing up for yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
Consistency is people being consistent and showing up for you.
yeah.
And kind of always talk about love and action, and that's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
that is in a sense. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's, I mean, just add that to the list of amazing things that you continue to do that people, that's why I would say you always have to remember the people who came before you because, you know,
Yep.
it's easier as much as crazy as the sport is now because of people like you, it's going to be easier for somebody competing now, competing 5 years from now, 10 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
because of people like you and just being consistent. You just never know who it's going to make an impact on. And then the revenge is a dish best served cold. That is some serious Beyonce energy. Because you know what I'm saying? You come out and you hear everybody talking and everything. Next thing you know, you got a country music album that just won an award. And in your case, you got a medal and you creating policies and writing books and everything. Oh my gosh.
Put
That's
your energy into productive action. That's what I say. It's like, yeah, people are going to do what they're going to do, but you also get to control your actions each day, and put your energy into something that you're going to be proud of. Not, don't waste it on the ones who just want to pull you down. It's hard. It is hard. And you need, that's when you need those to kind of keep you focused or pick you up. But but ultimately it's a lot more fun to be thinking about what you can do and what you can achieve than, and it feels extra fun to kind of like, to your point, to the Beyonce's point, oh, tell me what I can't do. Okay, now watch me.
Bet,
That's a fun one.
bet. Let's do it. Y'all ain't ready. I'm just, that's always fun. All right, quickly, got a
Yeah.
couple more. What are three fun facts that the people do not know about the legend that is Sister Shannon Rowbury the first?
Three fun facts. Let's see. Um,
And Irish dancing does not count.
yeah, everybody knows that by now. I was just doing the research. My family has been in San Francisco since like 1850s.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I have lots of connection here, and I think just working class. Um, my my dad was a union foreman. My mom started as a secretary before building her career as an event coordinator, but just really deeply proud of this city and the people in it and the community in it. I think the west side of San Francisco, which is where I was born and raised and live now, is kind of not one that most people know about, but it's very community oriented, and I just love the people that have helped make me who I am. So that's a fun fact about me. Which then Shannon Rowbury Day in San Francisco is October 18th. That was from 2016, so that was a fun one as well. And let's see, I'm trying to think of the third fun fact about me. I started learning Spanish when I met my husband Pablo. I think I knew from the moment I saw him across the gym, and my heart, like, or my stomach was full of butterflies, that he was something special. And so I studied Latin and French in high school and college, but immediately started learning Spanish, and I'm conversational in Spanish. So, pretty proud of that.
So
Hard.
when you saw him, you decided, okay, I need to learn another language, basically.
I knew really quickly that this man was something special. I mean, he's he's accomplished, he's attractive, but he's also so kind. And I wish that those combinations came more often. But most of the guys I had dated before him were impressed by my accomplishments, but also competitive with them. And Pablo is incredibly accomplished himself, but understands as well that what I do doesn't lessen him, and vice versa. And we really build, I feel we really are able to kind of be each other's best advocate. I didn't know all of that at the time. I just knew that there was something special about him. But his mom, he was born and raised in Mexico. His mom only speaks Spanish. His dad has some English, but his whole family is Spanish speaking. And so I really wanted to be able to improve my Spanish to communicate with them.
That is Hallmark. I saw a boy across the on the other side of the gym and said, "Let me download Duolingo real quick." Like, I
Hola.
hola, como estás?
Hola, guapo.
Oh boy, listen, I love that.
Yeah.
That's Pablo. If you're listening to this, listen, that is what you want. You want a three-piece extra crispy, hold the rice, and that's what Pablo is with the biscuit on top. Oh
Oh,
man,
yes.
we love a good love story. How has he impacted
Yeah,
your journey?
so much. The fact that just, it's like he just completely understands what it is that I'm trying to do, which, so I don't need to explain. I did not, when I was competing, need to explain to him why it was important for me to go to an altitude camp, or why I would have to be away for X amount of days. He just gets it and supports it. And can we shared the same. My first pro coach was John Cook, and he was coached by him as well. So even that kind of the experience of that, we shared. It was a big experience, and we share that and understand each other from it. But I think as we've continued to grow and develop our family, they're just shared values, shared principles. We're from two very different places, but at our core, the importance of family, the importance of commitment, of truth and honesty and integrity, like all of those essential values are the same. And then the things that are different are fun opportunities to learn and grow. So I think when I had I was so lucky to have a mom and dad who and grandparents as well. I was raised by my grandma as well, that loved me irregardless of my performance. But bringing in Pablo into my life, and having someone who loved me regardless of the outcome, I felt like I was braver as a result because I could reach that much higher, knowing that even if I failed, I'd still be loved. And so I think the best performances in my career came after we started dating, after we were married, because I just had this level of confidence this foundation that he gave me.
And he was a big time runner too. I think he had
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, he had the Mexican national record in the mile or the 5K.
mile 1500 and the 800 mile indoors, 1500 outdoors, and 800 outdoors.
800. Okay, yeah. So Big Pablo ain't no slouch either. I
No.
got I got about two and a half more, and then that question you've been dying to ask.
Uh-oh.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned from your kids?
Ooh. Let's see. I think so. I knew I wanted to be a mom before I ever had any specific career ambition, especially athletics. And yet when I became a mom, it was such a challenge to juggle motherhood and my career. But I think that like they gave me this conviction to, I would say, really those changes that I started making, a lot of them came from the conviction that having this other person in my life gave me. Because while I was, I think in my pro career, it always was more, I just need to be tough enough. I just need to be able to put up with it. I just need to, head down and work. And once I had this other little person that I was responsible for and thinking of myself as a role model for her, I'm thinking, although I was tough enough to take it, would I ever want her to be put in that same position? And it was the most profound and loud no. I think that they've just given me this conviction and clarity on what's important and where I want to try to make an impact.
Last one from me until
Okay.
the end. So you've had this remarkable journey, but there's always a need for role models and for good role models, and you definitely classify as that. When you look back on your journey and all the lessons learned, and I'm going to ask a similar question in the Would You Rather or to end it. So consider this part one.
Okay.
What is what is a lesson that you would want to pass on to somebody who's looking at you following in your footsteps?
Just know that your life and your work is a legacy that you're building. And if you can just keep showing up, you will build a platform from which you can lead with confidence. You'll have these opportunities to really make deep and profound changes. So I think understanding that long term view, and rather than just going for success in the moment, understanding what a long life we can have and what an impact we can make, we live it right.
All righty. So we're about to wrap this bad boy up. What was the question or
Well,
questions?
I guess my main question, and I have to go soon because I have a call. I, you started out by saying this won't be your normal interview, which it hasn't been. Why this? Why did you want to create this? Because obviously there's many things you could have done. Obviously it's an effort to get it going, but what is your why for making lactic acid?
So let me give you the abbreviated version. Um, when I graduated, I got my start out of college covering high school track and field,
Mm-hmm.
um, and as well as high school sports. And then COVID hit And so I
Mhm.
transitioned to football. Had a little show called Beyond the Shoe. And what
Mhm.
happened was I would interview a lot of these athletes, and they told me just we get asked the same questions over and over and
Oh.
over and over again. And
Mhm.
basically, 30,000 people will message me to answer the same question I answered the last time.
Yeah.
And it started to physically and mentally kind of take an effect on them. And so I
Mm.
created the show, and we really didn't talk too much about football. We talked about video games. I learned new terminology from these kids that I still can't pronounce, and just different things of that nature. Um, Ended
Cool.
up at track and field, a part of the Magic Boost program. And I've talked about that on previous episodes. We went out
Yeah.
to the Prefontaine Classic in 2021.
Mhm.
And I was in the press conference, and I was listening just to the how the questions were being relayed,
Mhm.
and just noticed something was off with the coverage, and went
Mhm.
into the mix zone, kind of noticed a few of the same things. So in the mix zone, instead of asking a serious question, I just asked if you had to pick a superhero to describe your game, who would it be? And I got all sorts of different answers. And so I remember coming home from that praying, and that's how Lactic Acid started. Knew I wanted to keep the format with the goal to be a place where athletes can come and express who they really are and not have to answer the same questions over and over and over and over and over again. So, long story short, that's how it came to be.
It's refreshing. I love it. I think that we always see that kind of TV version of an athlete, them competing and they're focused kind of, they peak for the race, they're focused for the race, they get the same questions after the race, but there's so much still, that's the tip of the iceberg, but there's so much beneath the surface. And it's refreshing to have conversations that allow them to be the humans that they are. They're still superheroes, but they're also human at the end of the day. So I appreciate that.
Tell the people where they can. We're going to get to that other question at the next time you come on the show.
Okay.
Tell the people where they can find you and support your journey.
Oh, Instagram at Shannon Rowbury, website shannonrowbury.com. I'm on LinkedIn as well and would be grateful for any support along the way and any ideas and inspirations. I'm inspired by all of you, Dominique, the work that you're doing, thinking outside the box. That's my favorite kind of thinking. And it's been a pleasure to spend the morning slash your afternoon, Monday, not Tuesday, with you.
Oh my gosh. Y'all, you heard the struggle in full effect on this episode.
Yeah.
Listen, she also has a book with Jess Dorrington, if I'm not mistaken, coming out in November of 2025, which is this year.
Yeah.
So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Shannon, thank you for coming on. Thank you everybody for listening. Love, peace, and chicken grease. We will catch you next time.